Good morning, mathematicians. We are looking at the 24 Tuesday column, and we're starting once again with modeling multiplication of decimals. So I'm going to show 5 tenths. I'm going to show that by highlighting 5 of the 10 columns. So you know that I'm going to show 5 tenths vertically. There's 1 tenth. There's 2 tenths, there's 3 tenths, there's 4 tenths, and here is our 5 tenths. I have shown 5 tenths vertically by highlighting 5 of the 10 columns. Now I'm going to highlight 2 tenths by highlighting 2 of the 10 rows. Now, where I see overlap between the purple and the orange, and I have this very bright color, this is where my answer is, right? That is what we see when we look at multiplying decimals. I could count these individual squares, which each piece represents 100, or I can look at it as a 5 by 2 array, and I'll know that I have 10 hundredths because those individual squares, once again, boys and girls, those represent each of them 100. That is our very first problem. Now, this next one is about someone called mistake. Maybe that gives me a clue about what I'm going to see in this problem. Well, she says that 9 times 4 tenths and 9 times 400ths have the same value. She says that both are correct because they contain 36. Is she correct? Explain. Remember the meaning of multiplying a whole number times a decimal? I'm going to have 9 groups of 4 tenths, but here I'm going to have 9 groups of 4 hundredths. Those are not the same thing. That's like saying here I have 9 groups of 4 dimes versus 9 groups of 4 pennies. Certainly, if this were money, we would know that that is not the same. So that's what we're going to summarize here. We're going to say that no, she is not correct. They both contain 36, but one is 36 tenths, like 36 dimes, and the other is 36 hundredths. Remember, boys and girls, that is like 36 pennies. So we can look at that question and know those are not the same thing. We have to pay attention to place value. Now let's come to the underpants orcas set out to swim 4 and 312 kilometers to the underpants store. After 2 and 141 kilometers, they took a break. How many more kilometers do they still need to swim? This is what they've set out to swim. This is the part they have swam so far. I want to know the difference between those, so that requires me to subtract. Okay, we're going to have 2 minus 1 is 1. If I have 1, I can't lose 4. I'm going to borrow from the 3, that's going to become a 2. I'm going to give 10 to this 1, and that becomes 11. 11 minus 4 is 7. 2 minus 1 is 1. 4 minus 2 is 2. Make my decimal align and come down because, again, that means that I have subtracted the correct place values. Okay, now we're going to think about Harry Otter. Harry Otter spent 1/4 of his money on a wand and a robe. The robe cost 3 times as much as the wand. The wand cost $5. How much did Harry have left? So we're going to pay special attention to the ideas here that I'm circling and seeing. And I'm going to remember that this is really all about him spending 1/4 of his money so far. And I want to know how much is the other 3/4 of his money? How much money does that equal? To figure out how much 1/4 of his money is, I have to figure out how much a wand and a robe cost. Well, it tells me right here that the robe, or rather the wand, costs $5. So I have used the variable W and said that that wand is $5. The previous sentence says the robe costs 3 times as much as the wand. So therefore, I know the robe equals 3 times 5 because the robe equals 3 times the wand, and the wand was $5. So I know that the robe is $15. Boys and girls, we know the wand is 5, we know the robe is 15. So I know that in all his total was $20. But my answer is not 20. This is a two-part equation. Now I'm going to think, okay, he spent a quarter of his money, and that was $20, right? But this is like a tape diagram. This is a quarter. I'm going to have 3 more quarters to make up all of his money. So really, boys and girls, this is how much money he has left, which is going to be 3 times 20. You certainly do not have to draw this out as a tape diagram, but mentally, this is what I'm thinking about. $20 is what he spent, but he has 3 more portions of $20 left to make up the 3 quarters. So therefore, I know 3 times 20 is 60. He has $60 left. Okay, our last question for today is Elvis Presley. He sings 22 songs about pretzels across his 4 albums. How many songs about pretzels are on each album? First of all, we want to think about what is the dividend? What is the thing that's getting broken up? Well, it is his 22 songs that are being divided into 4 albums, right? I know that 22 divided by 4 is the same thing as 22 divided by 4. Those mean the same thing, right? So again, I've shown the 22 is what is being broken up into 4 equal parts, the album. There is one of these that literally is the same, 22 fourths. Now what I have to do, since I know I'm going to select 2, I have to find the other fraction that equals the same thing, right? 22 fourths is certainly not equal to 4 over 22. 22 fourths is certainly not equal to 2/11ths. 22 fourths is equal to 11 halves because I know that I can take 22, divide it by 2 to get 11. And I can do the same thing down here. I can take 4 and divide it by 2 to get to 2. So the other answer choice that we should select is D, and that finishes out our Tuesday